How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. I'm your host, Trade. We're coming back. We had a little bit of an off weekend. Started tearing up some flooring upstairs in my house on Friday. The day got long, and I tell you what, I forgot. I completely forgot. I was just all kinds of busy up there. Just completely forgot about it. Got the floor tore up, though. Got it tore up. We're getting ready. We're going to add some new flooring up there, so can't wait for that, right? It's always great when you get it digging into the flooring in your house. But, I mean, outside of that, a pretty good weekend. Badger basketball men's got back on track. The women's team keeps on winning, so we want to talk about that today. Badger volleyball did drop it today, though. They lost to Nebraska. Nebraska they had the number all season long. They've had the Badgers number. That's 3. I said it going into it. I was like, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. I knew it. I was like, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. And, well, for Nebraska, I guess not. And, that was – I don't want anybody to look at – okay, the Badgers got swept 3-0. But if you watch that game, Wisconsin volleyball is a powerhouse. They are. They played great. They beat themselves at times. There are a lot of hitting errors, a lot of service errors. They beat themselves at times in this one. But you don't come out of that thinking Wisconsin is this terrible, like they didn't even belong on the court with Nebraska. Nebraska is just that good. They are just that good of a volleyball program, and it was impressive. If they don't end up in that championship game or winning the championship, I would be very surprised. That is a downright powerhouse team there. So gotta love that there. But we got a lot to get into, Kyle. We got a lot to get into today. Yep. So, hey, I got Kyle with me today. I don't want to forget about Kyle here. I got Kyle with me from Chomping on the Bit podcast over there, Integrity Sports Network. Kyle, how we doing on this Sunday? It's a little brisk here in the state of Wisconsin. How's it going down there in Georgia?
It's a little brisk down here as well. Look, it's been a good day. Watched some football. Some of it was good. Some was not so good. Mainly Patriots, but I can't complain. It's been a good day.
What's your definition of brisk? Like, are we talking like my definition of brisk? Or are we talking like, I don't know, like 50 degrees?
Georgia's version. Like it's 45 degrees down here, and people down here will be losing their mind. For me, it's fine. Like if it's 45 in Boston right now, like you're feeling it. So yeah, it's brisk for the southern people, but for me, like this is in my wheelhouse.
If it was cracking about 45 degrees up here, I'd be shorts and t-shirt outside, raking leaves and mowing the lawn. Like that's where I'd be at. And we're up here, it's like 10 degrees outside. The wind chill's like -30, and we're just, surviving. It's just a chilly day. Another day here in the state of Wisconsin. So the weather as of late here, it's up and down, man. Mm-hmm. It's like one day we got snow, and then all of a sudden in the afternoon it's raining on my head. Yesterday we had a little bit of rain there. We snowed a little bit in the morning, and then it was rain in the afternoon, freezing rain. Mm-hmm. So the roads were getting slick and everything like that. So hopefully everybody was okay and that didn't get any crazy accidents or anything like that. So hopefully not. But we got lots to get into. We got to get into it fast with the Packers, because Packers will be coming up here at 7:20. We want to talk about that game. A little bit of a preview of that game against the Seahawks there. We got lots to get into. So Kyle, let's jump right into it. Packers heading to Seattle to take on the Seahawks there. The 12th man out there. It's always tough. It is always tough in Seattle. That game. And I'm looking at this game in Seattle, and I'm like, this feels like a playoff game. This feels like a playoff game for both these teams, because the Packers heading out there, they haven't beaten anybody ahead of them yet, right? They've beaten everybody behind them, but they haven't beat the Vikings. They didn't beat the Lions. They haven't beat the Eagles. They haven't beat anybody in front of them. Well, the Seahawks are technically not in front of them record-wise, but in their division, they are. They're top of their division. So this is a game where you could see this happening in the playoffs. You could end up playing in Seattle again in the playoffs. So this feels like a playoff game. Plus, Seattle, on the flip side of that, like I was just saying with the Packers, Seattle hasn't really proven that they can beat the best teams yet. They haven't proven that they can beat the Lions. They haven't proven they can beat these teams. They think that the Packers are one of those teams at this point. So they're going into this game thinking that same scenario. Hey, we got to beat this team. We have to prove to everybody that we are legit. And what better chance to do it than against the Packers on Sunday Night Football? Like, that is 100% the truth right there. So, I mean, I got a lot of keys to this one. And I'll go over my keys here, and then we'll talk about this game a little bit. My number one is the Packers got to get Josh Jacobs going in this game. Like, you want to win a football game, you got to start that baby on the ground. Josh Jacobs has got to get going in here. They got to own that line of scrimmage. Last game, the offensive line kind of got beat up early against Detroit there. Detroit was able, I mean, they were bull rushing right off the bat there. Jordan Love was under constant duress back there, and it just seemed like for the first couple possessions for the Packers there, they weren't able to kind of settle in to the game there. I want to see the Packers establish that run game early and just get it going. Seattle gives up an average of 4.7 yards per carry, per attempt on the season so far. So they aren't very great. They're not very good between the tackles, and that's where the Packers got to exploit in this one with Josh Jacobs there. Establish that line of scrimmage early in this one. Seattle's pass defense has actually looked pretty good over the past month. So they need to get that ground game going to kind of open up that passing game there, because Seattle, if you want to look at that defense, the secondary is probably their strength. They have a good pass rush, though. They have 5 guys who have over 30 or more pressures on the season. So they can get after your quarterback, too. So there, once again, that comes down to that offensive line for Green Bay has got to own that line of scrimmage in this one. Geno Smith has been sacked 40 times on the season so far. That is, I mean, a staggering amount there. So you look at both sides. The Packers have got to own the trenches in this game. We talk about it week in and week out, owning the trenches. You want to win a football game, you got to own the trenches. That's where I'm looking in this one. Jackson Smith-Njigba, a lot of people forget about him because he's kind of, I wouldn't say he's hidden, but you think of the Seahawks. Who do you think of? DK Metcalf or Lockett. You're not thinking of Jackson there, but he has been great this season. Mainly, over this last little stint here, he's had 5 straight games of 70-plus yards. So that's impressive stuff there. He lines up in the slot a lot. So, but he's also going all over the field, which is going to challenge what the Packers can do in that secondary. Because when you look at this combo that they have there in the wide receiver room, Smith-Njigba, and then you have Lockett, and you have Metcalf. Metcalf, he stretches the field out. He's going to be your blow it over the top guy. Smith-Njigba, he's going to find ways to get open, whether it's over the middle, whether it's on the outside, he's going to find a way. And Lockett has always been a very good route runner. So I look at those 3 guys, and I'm like, oh, boy, the Packers secondary is going to have some trouble tonight here. We're going to have Jair Alexander is out for the Packers in this one. That does not help. We were all hopeful. We're like, oh, he practiced first couple days this week. We're like, yes, full practice on Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to get him back. Did not see him. He did not practice on Friday, and then we found out that he was going to be out for this game. So no Jair Alexander, no Javian Bullard in this game. That hurts. That hurts majorly because those are for the Packers with their depleted secondary, which struggles already to lose pieces to that secondary. That hurts even more. So that's a problem because you look at this secondary and they struggle over the middle of the field. They're actually one of the worst teams over the middle of the field covering guys. 174 completions over the middle of the field. They're 10 touchdowns. That's good for 30th in the league. That's wild. That is a wild stat. I kept hearing it all week long. I was like, they kept telling me the Packers are terrible over the middle of the field. And Dan Orlovsky was saying it. And everybody was saying it. I was like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, this is a stat, like, just over the middle of the field? And then I looked it up. Sure crap. 30th in the league right there. So not great. They cannot get beat over the top. You cannot let DK Metcalf, you cannot let him be that X factor where he's beating you over the top for big gainers. You got to keep that thing underneath, which is what the Packers do a good job of. They'll keep you within 5, but you're probably going to complete it underneath there. So it's going to be a lot of, for me, what are the pass rush for the Packers? That front 4. Can they get consistent pressure on Geno Smith by themselves? Or does Jeff Hafley, to get pressure on Geno Smith, need to bring his backers? Does he need to bring extra guys? Because when you start bringing extra guys, that exploits the secondary then because there's holes left in that zone. It limits what you're able to do. So I'm interested to see what Jeff Hafley draws up and what this front 4 can do against a subpar offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks. They're a little bit weak on that right side. Let's see if the Packers can exploit it there. And then the turnover battle. I mean, Geno Smith and Jordan Love early on this season, they were turning the ball over left and right. But then all of a sudden, Toyotathon happens. Jordan Love starts taking off, and Geno Smith stops turning the ball over too. So who wins that turnover battle tonight here will be big in this one. Get off the field on 3rd down. you got to be able to convert on third down. So flip a script there, right? Get off the field on third down if you're on defense, and got to be able to convert third downs on the offensive side. Against the Lions, kind of struggling in that department there. Got to clean it up in this one here, and then own the red zone. Packers are one of the worst red zone teams out there. You got to be able to own the red zone in this one here if you are the Green Bay Packers there. John did say, in my opinion, he says that the Packers need to run that baby. And then what did John say there? Get your fold-in chair, bubbler, whatever you call it, and get your side table. And every time Green Bay makes a 10-plus run, give me an over under 12. Enjoy a headache tomorrow with the win. I'll take it. I'll take that. I'll take the win and the headache tomorrow, John. Don't you worry. I'll take it. I will take it on that one. But Kyle, I mean, you've seen Seattle a little bit this year. You've seen the Packers. What are you looking at in this game here? What do the Packers got to do to win this football game in a very hostile, probably very tough environment coming up tonight?
Yeah, the 12th man is definitely something that's, something you have to acknowledge and be mindful of. I mean, I think you hit on it. Like, if you're Green Bay, you want to establish Jacobs, get the running game going, because the Seahawks are 21st against the run. So you should be able to get Josh Jacobs going and kind of play based on how effective he is. Like, if he's continuing to pound the rock and getting good yardage, use him. That then opens up your play action and all that kind of stuff. So I think with Green Bay with the ball, establish a run early, you'll be fine. Defensively, I think you hit on it as well. Geno Smith and those playmakers, when Geno is on, like they're a very dangerous group. Jair Alexander not being in. The Packers' pass defense is bottom half in the league as well. So that's kind of where the chess match will be. Can Seattle establish the passing game, force Green Bay to probably change their, defensive suit and put more guys in the coverage, whatever they may have to do with that, versus Green Bay just lining up, playing physical, establishing the run, and just trying to beat up Seattle. Like, which one wins out? I think it's an interesting matchup for sure, because for Seattle, I think this would be an opportunity for them if they were to beat Green Bay to kind of legitimize where they are right now as an 8-5 team that's leading the NFC West, even though I don't think a lot of people are taking them seriously right now, because they haven't really done much all season that makes you think like they're a playoff team, they're a contender or anything like that. You beat Green Bay, you make more of a name for yourself. And for Green Bay, look, this is an opportunity to gain a game on Detroit. Detroit is losing to Buffalo. I believe it actually ended, so they've lost to Buffalo. You got a chance to close the gap a little bit on Detroit. So this is a game that you have to take advantage of. Yes, you're on the road, tough environment, but establish Josh Jacobs, and you probably should be good to go in this one.
And what's going to hurt, for the Seahawks is no Kenneth Walker in this game. I did see he's out for this one. I didn't know that he had a calf injury there, but he's going to be out for this game. That's going to hurt the run game for the Seahawks there. I mean, the Packers' run defense has been better as of late. So when you think of the Seattle Seahawks, you're like, man, they got to have a good night, right? The offensive line's got to play well. They got to be able to establish some kind of run game, because you can throw the ball around the yard, but if you cannot run the football, I mean, the Packers could just sit back and wait for you, right? And not saying that the Packers could figure it out, because the secondary is iffy at times there, but I mean, it'd make life a lot easier, right? So it's going to be troublesome, I would say, on Seattle to try and get that. I mean, Charbonnet, is that how you say his name there? He's solid. He's not bad. He's solid. And I mean, they got Kenny McIntosh in there, but Kenneth Walker's your dog. I mean, that's your between the tackles runner right there. And for him to be out in this one, that hurts. That hurts this team a little bit. I did not see, I was trying to look through any other real notables. Trey Brown is out, cornerback for him there. Outside of that, I mean, no real notables out for Seattle in this one. I would say just some depth pieces there. And then looking at the Packers, like I mentioned, Jair, Bullard are out for this one. Corey Ballantyne is questionable. And then Luke Musgrave is out for this one. Otherwise, Edgerrin Cooper's back, right? So you're getting healthy. Romeo Doubs back. You get Edgerrin Cooper back off of that hamstring, and that's good sign because I would think the Packers, they're very hesitant to play guys who are banged up. Like, they don't want to make it worse. We saw that with Jordan Love, and we knew that they were going to keep him out as long as they could. Edgerrin Cooper, if he's playing, I believe that hamstring is good to go. So good to see him back there. Devin Williams looks like he's a go. He was in the concussion protocol and from last week there. And he looks like he's good to go in this one. He was full go on Thursday and Friday, and it's looking like his game status. He's good to go in this one. So Packers getting relatively healthy, which is something that we haven't seen all season here. We've been missing guys left and right. At first it was Dobbs. I really got worried about Dobbs because he was in the concussion protocol for like 2 weeks since the 49ers game. That made you kind of nervous. You're like, what the heck happened? Like, I truthfully, I didn't really notice that he went out of the game at one point there. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's in the concussion protocol. I'm like, what happened? Like, I didn't even see that happen there. But I mean, that happens. You guys go in the concussion protocol and you don't even notice that guy got whacked around a little bit there. But Packers getting healthy. You love to see it. I mean, Kyle, what are we thinking? Are we thinking the Packers go into Seattle and they pull off a win here on Sunday night? Or are you taking the opposite and you think that Seattle will get this win against Green Bay?
I think Seattle makes it tough on Green Bay, but I would probably take Green Bay in this one. I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of a 27, maybe 27-20. I'll take Green Bay 27-20.
I like that one there, 27-20. I was just double checking. Packers inactives for tonight here. Malik Heath, wide receiver, Javian Bullard, the safety there, cornerback Jair Alexander, and then offensive lineman Jacob Monk. So Ballantyne is back, which is good news. Out of all the cornerbacks that they got that are young yet, I think Ballantyne's got the most upside. Eric Stokes needs to go far away. I've had enough of him at this point here. I mean, he's been injured so much, and he comes back, and like, hats off to him. He worked his way back from injury and everything like that. But when he was working his way back from injury, I think he lost his step, and he doesn't have it anymore. And it sucks because I know how I can imagine how hard he worked to get back to this point. But it's just at some point, it's like, when is enough? And I really do think after this season, the Packers are going to go all in, hopefully in the draft and everything, going after secondary help, maybe pass rush help, and maybe linebackers, whatever it is, somewhere on the defense there. But I think Eric Stokes, this will probably be it for him, unless if he balls out the last couple of weeks, but I don't see that in there. So, I mean, I like the Packers to win this one. I like the 27-20 look there. I'm going to say they win this one 31-24. I got that feeling, 31-24. I think the Packers put up some real numbers in this one here. I think they get that run game going, like John said there. Get out your folding chair and your bubbler. John, you can't put a bubbler next to it. Unless he's talking about the fizzy drink. You might be talking about the fizzy drink there. I don't drink those, John. I don't drink those there. But yeah, I agree. I mean, run game, it's going to start with the run. Can you establish the run game in this one? And then from there, allow Jordan Love, put him under center. I mean, I hate when we put always in shotgun, right? We're always in shotgun, always in pistol. I hate that. I hate that so much. Jordan Love is so good when you put him under center and he's able to, look off safeties coming back, and he's able to, you have that threat of him, the triple threat, whatever he's going to do in there, right? He can throw it, he can run it, he can do all those things. He can give it off Josh Jacobs. You got to allow that, right? In the shotgun, I mean, even for Josh Jacobs as a running back, how much does he want to run if his quarterback's standing right next to him and hands him the ball, right? Now he's got to get the full head of steam going forward. Give that baby a 3-yard head start. Ain't nobody putting Josh Jacobs on his back on the defensive line there. So, I mean, man, just wow. So, John is in this. We're going to get into this here in a second. So we both got Packers winning this game here. But John says, side game, were you more surprised Saints almost beat Washington, or the Chargers defense was non-existent, or Broncos offense was terrible, but defense was great and blew out the Colts? I did see, did anybody watch that crazy? They said, I didn't see the video of it, but there was a trick play that the Colts tried to run and the Broncos just took it from them. Was that, did you see that, Kyle?
I did not see that play. No, I was keeping track of that game, like a little game cast thing. So I didn't actually watch that one, but the Colts were kind of in a desperate situation because this was their opportunity to beat a team that's literally right in front of them for playoff seeding. And, some teams go kind of crazy with that and try to get unpredictable. But, yeah, I mean, good win for Denver. They've pretty much eliminated Indy. I think Indy still has a slight chance with tiebreakers, but Denver's 9-5. I did not see that coming before the season. I think you got to give Bo Nix a lot of credit. You got to give the defense a lot of credit. You got to give just like his coaching staff, like everything. Like Denver is doing something that obviously you don't think they're gonna do much of anything, in the playoffs or anything like that, because it's hard to pick teams that are led by young quarterbacks in the playoffs. But that defense is gonna keep them in games, and I mean, trying to see like who they could match up against. Like you potentially match up with the Steelers, which probably wouldn't be a good one for them, but that defense against the Steelers offense, which isn't explosive but has explosive potential. Like if they keep it low scoring, that's a team that Denver may like going up against. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Colts have tried some weird trick plays over their history. I still remember the 4th and 3 against New England when they had like the center and a wide receiver to take the snap. Everybody else was off to the side. It seemed like they were trying to draw New England off sides, but they hiked it anyway and lost like 2 yards on the play, and everybody was just like, what's going on? So the Colts, they'll do this from time to time. It's indicative on why they are a weird franchise.
I just watched the video of it now. So Richardson tries to chuck it out to Antonio Mitchell, and then he catches it, tries to throw it back to Anthony Richardson. And mind you, Mitchell's on the sideline and Richardson's basically in the center of the field, if not further over. And he tries to throw it back to him. And the Broncos, it must have been their safety or corner, comes running through in front of Anthony Richardson and then houses it on a pick six there. So, I mean, just a disastrous trick play. Like, that's when a trick play comes back to bite you there. But so, yeah, Broncos lose that one. So his question was, Broncos offense was terrible. Defense was great. Were you more surprised Saints almost beat Washington? Now, I wouldn't say I'm surprised. It seems like we get a lot of these games now, right? I mean, we had Carolina. How many weeks in a row did they almost beat? The Chiefs, and they almost beat the Eagles there. I mean, we watched that kind of stuff happen. It doesn't surprise me that we see games like that. Chargers defense non-existent. Who did the Chargers play today? Buccaneers. Holy crap. Ola Baker lit them up for 4 tutties. See, that's why I'm on a bye week for fantasy.
I was surprised.
I'm on a bye week for fantasy. I had Baker. I had Baker in my fantasy team, and I wasn't even playing. I mean, that just sucks, right? He gives me finally a good week. I mean, outside of that let me just ask you this. Was it surprising to see the Bills go to Ford Field and put up 48 points on the Lions?
No. Like, even though I didn't pick the Bills to win the game, I did leave out a small margin that Buffalo, if any team could go there and do kind of like what they're doing, it seems like Buffalo this year is just all about these big games showing up. They got the win over Kansas City, now a win over Detroit. I don't know, they're making a name for themselves. I still think with them, you hold out a little bit because of, the defense hasn't been great all year. It's getting better with Milano and some guys getting back there at Oliver. I think some people are still hesitant to believe in Josh Allen right now. Although I would say, based off of what he did against Detroit, he's probably got his name written in ink for the MVP. I would find it hard to believe that he's beaten Kansas City. He's put up this kind of performance against Detroit, and he's not going to vault to number 1 on a lot of people's list. And if you look at the rest of their schedule, like, he should be able to possibly win out. If they do that, like, I don't see how you don't give it to Josh Allen at this point. And to me, it's like, if you don't give it to Josh Allen, probably has to be Saquon Barkley. But I think I agree with John. I think Josh Allen pretty much locked it up today, unless he just goes completely off the deep end and starts becoming a turnover machine.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, we said it. We said it last week. We said, because the whole thing was this conversation about, Lamar Jackson needs to be the MVP. And why is Josh Allen up there? He doesn't even have close to the numbers and everything like that. We said, if Josh Allen goes into Detroit and wins this football game and looks good doing it, he's got himself his case. That's all he needs. What did he do? He walked into Detroit. He put up 48 points. Now, it wasn't just him, right? He has an offense behind him there. But he led them to 48 straight points there. That's an impressive night at the office because, yes, you are playing the Lions second string and everything else and guys that they found on the street before the game there. But that is still a pretty good defense all the way around. So, I mean, yeah, and John says there, Bills defense looked bad again 2 weeks in a row. Goff almost 500 yards. Yeah, that's kind of what I don't know what defense doesn't look bad against the Lions at this point. Like, the Lions are going to put up points. It's just, can your offense put up points to go along with it? I mean, it's about all I'm seeing at this point here, because look at the Packers. I mean, they put up 31 points against the Lions there, but lost 34-31. So I guess you just got to put up 48 points and you'll beat the Lions. That's just how it is. There's your combo.
Yeah, and I mean, the question could also be asked, like, which AFC offense do you see doing what Detroit did against Buffalo? I don't know if they would face an offense that's like Buffalo in the AFC.
The only other offense that I could see putting up that many points, they will not see, and that's the Bengals. Like, I can see Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins putting up them big-time numbers because they do. But, yeah, then you want to talk about a defense giving up 40-some points behind that. Yes, like that'd be the team right there, would be the Bengals. And that one, outside of that, I mean, I don't think the Chiefs are putting up that number. I really don't. They're gonna keep it closer than what that was. I mean, their defense is gonna be able to hold their own in that one. But outside of that, I mean, the Texans ain't doing it. Broncos aren't doing it. I mean, Steelers definitely not. After today, Steelers aren't going to do something like that. Chargers, no. I couldn't see the Chargers doing it. Nobody else outside of probably, for me, the Bengals would be my team that would put up that boatload of points there. And that's what John says too. He says the Bengals. Outside of the Bills, your most prolific offense would be the Bengals. And then after that, I don't even know. Like, give the Bengals the Chiefs defense and put them up against the Bills. That'd be a heck of a game. That'd be a heck of a ball game right there. But we get to watch craptastic Bengals defense. It was better watching them in the Simpsons version the other night there. Their defense looked a little bit better. It looked a little bit better in the Simpsons version of it there.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a little bit of the Simpsons thing. I thought it was creative. I thought, swapping in and out random players for Simpsons players was interesting. The commentary, matching up with it. I think with the NFL doing stuff like this, for the most part, you got to say it's worked for them. So
yeah,
I hope they keep it up. I mean, I'm thinking about like other worlds they could go in. Like, would they do a South Park? Would they do
South Park?
I mean, that would be crazy, but I mean, if you did The Simpsons, like, you got to think South Park could be on the table.
Family Guy, get Peter Griffin up in there trying to house a kickoff. I did think it was cool, but I was, I have Jamar Chase in my fantasy, and I was in a close one trying to lock up the 1 seed, and then all of a sudden I'm looking, I'm like, wait, they have 3 of the Simpsons characters out there. I'm like, somebody, I think it was, I don't remember if it was Bart or somebody caught a touchdown pass. And I'm like, wait, was that supposed to be Jamar Chase? Who just caught this touchdown pass out here? So I'm looking at like, what the heck is going on there? John says the Marvel. He thinks they're going to do a Marvel.
I was about to say, you can get away from kind of the animation, get into Marvel would be pretty cool. Do they go like, I don't know. Well, I don't think Disney or any of them have like anime properties, but I was thinking of something like that as well. But yeah, they have ownership of Marvel. Like, why not use it?
Disney would be wild. What would you even do with Disney? I don't even know.
I don't know. Mickey Mouse? Like, I don't know.
Mickey. We're going to do Mickey Mouse hours there.
Yeah, Mickey, got Minnie running around. You throw some Goofy out there, have a little party with it.
I can see it happening. I can see it happen. It's like we're giving them the pieces.
They have the Nickelodeon broadcasts. Like you could do it. I've watched the Nickelodeon one before. I think that's also really creative, and how they do that, they cater that strictly to kids. SpongeBob explaining rules and all this kind of stuff. Like, I get what the NFL is doing. I think it's a smart move by them. So keep it up.
We love it. We love it. We want to see some crazy stuff.
Chat, Chris, for some reason, like some of my channels, the chat's not coming up, but he said about Charlie Brown.
No, because what if you put that girl out there for the kick? Oh, that'd be funny though. If they had a missed kick and they had him just pull the ball out last second there, and then just watch the kicker wipe. That'd be the way to do it. With as many missed extra points as we're having these days, I mean, that'd be the way to do it there. That'd be something to watch. That'd be something to watch there. So, I mean, good stuff there. Good stuff NFL-wise. Packers just about to start here. Watching Carrie Underwood sing us the Sunday Night Football song there. So, we know it's about that time of day. But we're going to get to Badger football quick. I want to talk about a couple of the transfers they got coming in. They added some big pieces already in the transfer portal. So I want to talk about him real quick here. Tanner Cozzoli, the tight end there out of Ball State, 6'7", 237 pounds there. He's a big guy. Number 2 rated tight end in the portal there. Last season at Ball State, he had 94 catches for 839 yards and 8 touchdowns. He's impressive. He's an impressive all the way around tight end there. He's a playmaker, got some versatility to him there. Great catch radius, can make plays in the open field. And he adds to that position group that the Badgers haven't had anything at since, I would say, Jake Ferguson. And that was, we know how long Jake Ferguson's been in the league already now. And it's been about that long since the Badgers have had any kind of progression or, any kind of stats at that position there. So good to see the Badgers adding up there. And that's good to see because it makes you feel good about what they think of Jeff Grimes there at the offensive coordinator spot. And then also, I don't know it, and we don't know it for a fact, but I was listening to Lockdown Badgers podcast over there with Ryan Herrings, and he said, that makes you feel good because the Badgers are bringing in some offensive guys, and why would a tight end want to come into Madison there if he doesn't know who's playing quarterback? So there's got to be a short list of guys who they're looking at in the transfer portal at this point here, and maybe that, him coming in is like, hey, they have their eyes on 2 guys or 3 guys here, and one of those guys is coming, and I feel comfortable with those guys throwing the ball there. So you got to love that. Yeah. And yes, John's over here. He's telling me all the guys they got coming in there. I was going to get to him eventually here. Mason Rieger coming into the Badgers there, edge rusher from Louisville. And this is a big-time ad, I think. He had knee surgery, missed last season there. But his 2023 stats, 22 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 5 sacks. Great speed off the edge. I was watching a little video on him today. Great speed off the edge for Mason. He loves the ability to come into Madison. And I think the biggest thing for me is that he's coming from Louisville, which is a Power 4 conference already. So, you think of transfers, and some of these guys, they'll come from like William and Mary, or they'll come from, smaller universities. And I don't want to knock any of them. But when you already are coming from a Power 4 conference and playing in another Power 4 conference, I think it like helps you make that transition a lot easier because you're already used to that flow of those higher paced, bigger games, right? Coming from Louisville, playing in the ACC versus coming from, like I said, a smaller university. And now you're trying to play in these bigger universities. And maybe the game is, I wouldn't say different, but you got some bigger bodies, you got different pace, you got all that to deal with. So I like the ad there of Mason Rieger. And then they did also bring in a defensive lineman, Parker Peterson from Tulane there. He had 21 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks in 2024. He had 12 pressures, only 2 missed tackles, which that's good. That's a good number right there. Only 2 missed tackles on the season there. He said J.J. Watt was an idol for him while he was growing up there. So Wisconsin being the first school to offer for him there, he couldn't pass that up. He's like, J.J. Watt's my guy. He went to Madison. I got this, feeling in my gut. Wisconsin was the first one to jump out at him. He gets in there. The Wisconsin staff did say that he would fill Curtis Neal's spot from last season there, which was the nose tackle. And he's going to play about the same scheme that he thrived in while he was at Tulane there. So Badgers just keeping him comfortable, keeping him in that same role. So you got to love that. A little bit more from him. He says, I know exactly where my skill set lies and that my initial attack of the ball, ability to stuff gaps, read an offense, and find the ball. And I mean, it shows. It really does. When you watch the tape on him, you watch everything. He's got the potential to be a game wrecker up the middle there. And he just has a nose for the football. And that's what you love. Nose tackle, right? Nose tackle. It's right in the name. That's what you want. You want that guy to have a nose for the football up the middle there. This is that guy. And you love the edge that he's coming in with. You love the confidence that he has. And you love that he has that ability where he's like, I'm going to fit right into this scheme. The Badgers staff told him point blank, like, we got a spot for you. It's open. Earn that, baby. And we're going to put you in that same scheme that you thrived in Tulane there. So he was impressive this last season and hopefully impressive for the Badgers coming up in this next season. But I love these 3 ads already. And, there's going to be more out there, of course, but I love these 3 ads. The Badgers, where were their problems? Defensive line, couldn't get pressure on quarterbacks. They add 2 defensive linemen already, an edge rusher, and they add this defensive lineman, Ian Peterson there. And then they say, where have we not had production on the offense in about, 3 years, since 2021 at least, with Jake Ferguson? Where have we not had production? That tight end room. Let's go get us a playmaker at tight end who can extend the field. And when you're running a run first, we want to establish the run kind of offense with Jeff Grimes there, having a tight end, a trustworthy tight end, that's a quarterback's best friend, right? We're so reliant on wide receivers out here. You got to have a quarterback's best friend, and that is a tight end. That's what they got out there with the guy from Ball State there. So I love all these ads. I love all these ads by this Badger team so far, and I can't wait to see what else they're going to add there, because they already addressed a lot of the needs already in the transfer portal, and now it's about depth. Now it's about adding more pieces into what I believe it could be a big season next season there. It could be. It really could be. You got a guy in an offensive coordinator, Jeff Grimes now, who you feel comfortable with. He's going to get you back to your roots. You got some guys returning from last season there. Trek Kekahuna went into the transfer portal, said he was coming back now, so that's good, right? He jumps into the transfer portal, toys a little bit with Minnesota there, making us feel like he's going to go there, and then he ends up back in Madison. So you love to see that. Maybe he was just doing it to mess with him. I thought it was because he saw Braden Locke transfer, and then he's like, I'll come back. Braden Locke's gone. I'll come back now. But, yeah, John, I agree. Carter Smith is going to be a big difference at the quarterback spot if they do go young. I don't know. I've toyed with the idea, right? You always toy with the idea. Do we go with the freshman quarterback, or do we get a bridge quarterback in? I don't know, right? You have Jeff Grimes coming up from Kansas. He had Jaden Daniels' brother down there. Jalen Daniels was the quarterback at Kansas, and he's going back to Kansas next season there, but that's not saying he couldn't enter in to that transfer portal and come up to Madison. If he decides to come to Madison, sign me up. I'll take him on the team there. He's got the ability to run the football. He's got all those kinds of intangibles there. I think they're still looking to see if they can find a quarterback, because right now I believe they have 3 quarterbacks in the room there, and 2 of them are in this 2025 recruiting class there, and the other one's Mabry, who is a redshirt freshman. So not a lot of experience, right? And you probably want some experience in there, so we'll see what they do. I think they're still going to add a transfer quarterback. It's just going to be a matter of who and when. So we'll wait and see what kind of happens there. But Kyle, I got another one, college football wise there. Looking at this cracked me up. I couldn't believe it when I read it. Ohio lawmaker Josh Williams. He's a state rep down there. He introduced the Ohio Act, the OHIO Sportsmanship Act Tuesday, that would make it a felony offense to plant a flag at the center field of Ohio Stadium there. So now, not only were we thinking like, hey, the NCAA is going to get involved. No. Hold the phone. We're going to make it a freaking law that says if you try to plant first off, Ohio Stadium is AstroTurf. I want to say this to the Michigan fans and everybody out there. You are not planting a flag in AstroTurf. You can try, but unless you're going to drill a hole in there first, you're not planting that flag. So just let's get that out of the way right away. But let's look at, Kyle, we got lawmakers involved now in this one. And this is a little whack. This is a little whack to me.
So weird. Like, I get it. You were butthurt somebody planted a flag on your field. But it's just planting a flag. It's not like they're running around shooting flares and all this kind of stuff, creating some type of chaos and everything. It's just planting the flag. And it's very simple to stop it. You don't let them win on your field. If they don't win on your field, they'll never plant the flag, and then you just keep it moving. This screams of, butthurt Ohio representative wants to make a big name for himself, so he's going to introduce it as a felony, which means now if some team goes in there, wins, that was kind of a big underdog, they're going to run around, probably grab the flag, and as soon as they're out there, plant it, go, oh, wait, if I do this, I could get like jail time or something, and then turn around and not do it. I thought the whole point of what made the college game attractive was the emotion behind it, the pageantry, the rivalry, the certain things that people say that the pro game doesn't have. So now taking the planting of the flag out kind of rips away at that kind of emotional aspect that draws a lot of people to the game. So I hope it's not something that's like seriously going to go through, because I think that would be so stupid. But it's also kind of dumb that this guy felt like he needed to talk about this bill, put it out there to to stop something that happens like once. I guess if you're looking at Ohio State or whatever, it might happen once a year, which would be crazy. For the most part, it's like once every couple of years somebody does it. Is that really a reason to try to put a law in for it? I don't get this at all. It's just so dumb.
Well, it's like, let's say court storming, right? We had Caitlin Clark got hurt during a court storm. And who was the other one? Wasn't he from Duke? Wasn't it that one Duke player? I can't remember what the heck his name was off the top of my head now. Shoot. Oh, he just played there last season, and now I'm baffled at his name right now. But it'd be like if we said, if Duke fans, if let's just say, what the heck was his name? That is gonna blow in my mind right now. I can't remember that guy from Duke last season there. But that's like saying, okay, say one of those two got hurt, which would have sucked. It would have definitely sucked. But let's say one of those two got hurt. Are we going to ask lawmakers to make us a law that says there will be no more court storming, and if you do storm courts, then you will be subject to penalty? Like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? There was how many? We talked about it all in one day. We had like 5 different places that there was somebody trying to plant a flag, and there was a fight that broke out, and the only one that got taken to a lawmaker was Ohio. Like, that is just, grow up.
John has it. Filipowski.
Flip. Yes. It was Flip. Yes. He was the biggest whiner too. I disliked Flip with a passion. I disliked Duke. So that's besides the point. But, no, 100%. Yeah, I just don't get it. I really don't. I think it made me laugh. That's the worst part, is I came out of that laughing. Like, are you serious right now? And I do like John. He says there in the comments, he says, oh, butthurt Ohio. Hope next time Oregon beats OSU at OSU and they bring the green spray paint the whole green. I would take it. I would be okay with it. You know what? At the end of the day, would I want somebody to plant the flag on my field? Probably not. But if you're going to, it's not going to start it. Don't make it a felony. We're not going to arrest dudes for planting a flag on a field. You want to leave anybody accountable, leave the NCAA accountable, leave universities accountable for it. Don't just threaten them with money, threaten them with suspensions, threaten them with all that kind of stuff. Don't threaten them with, we're going to make it a felony. Are you serious? For being, if you're Michigan, heading into that game, you stink. You shouldn't even be on the same field as Ohio State that season. You have no quarterback. You have a good defense, but you have no quarterback. You're at the low point of your university over the past like 4 years. You're at your low point. You're rock bottom. And you end up winning that football game somehow. If I'm Ohio State, I'm not going back out there to fight. I'm going home. Like, I don't even want to be seen. I don't want to be seen in this university at this stadium right now. I want to go home and I want to get ready for the playoffs, because I just got embarrassed on my home field by a team that should not have embarrassed me. So to have Ohio be the one just makes it so much better on the backside of it there. So gotta love that. I did not miss We did have another comment, Packers. Must have been from earlier there when we were picking our games there. We did have a Packers comment. So another vote for the Packers to pull this one off, establishing the run game. Josh Jacobs is early on in this one. He's kind of taken over. A little bit of a couple of screens, a little bit of that. Josh Jacobs rumbling right along, and the Packers moving the football down the field. Guy in the red zone, like we talked about, red zone offense. Got to be it tonight for this team. Why not use him? He's a horse. I mean, he is just a horse.
Anthony had another couple of comments. He asked, he said, this is back with Lamar. They shouldn't give it to Lamar just because he had the 5 touchdowns against a bad Giants team, maybe the number 1 pick. But then his question was, if you knew who was going to win the Heisman Trophy as a clear winner, would you go knowing you're really not going to win? So basically, Travis Hunter wins it kind of convincingly over Ashton Jeanty, who a lot of people thought was very worthy of winning it. So I guess in Anthony's scenario, if you're Ashton Jeanty, you get word you have no shot of winning it. Do you show up anyway?
No, because I think it's a crock of crap. I really do. Melvin Gordon got gypped out of a Heisman Trophy a few years back there from Wisconsin. He had a fantastic year. Broke the record for most yards in a game. It was broken like the next week, but that was in 3 quarters. I think we need to put an asterisk by his name because the Badgers pulled him out going into the 4th quarter there. So, I mean, he had 400 some yards in 3 quarters of football. That is ridiculous. And then they pulled him out for that 4th quarter. He didn't play at all. And it just sucked. But I mean, I would still show up. It's the experience, right? You don't want to be a sore loser or anything like that. Yes, Travis Hunter had a great year. I think Travis Hunter had a great year. It is awesome that he plays both sides of the ball. He plays the majority of the snaps on both sides of the ball. I think it's awesome. I don't want to take away from what Travis Hunter's done. And he's had multiple games where he's had a receiving touchdown. He's had interceptions in those games. He's put up ridiculous numbers. But what Ashton Jeanty has done is put up ridiculous numbers too. So it came down to, in my opinion, it came down to a popularity contest of what's more exciting, right? It's like when we think of, when Shohei Ohtani first came in, what was the excitement, right? He did both, right? He did both. He wasn't just a hitter. He was a pitcher too. It was just the excitement was there. And I don't want to say that Travis Hunter isn't exciting because he's an exciting player. And I think he's going to be very good at the next level. I think, for me at the next level, they're going to make him pick one.
You think he plays both at the next level? Do you think he plays both at the next level? Or does he play maybe one, maybe a little bit of the other?
Yes. That second part that you said. I think they put him at cornerback. I think they put him at cornerback. And then you have like 10, 12 plays a game where you almost have a specialty and Travis Hunter's on the offense because he is that kind of athlete where he can do both. So you don't want to take away his ability to do both there. But I do think that you got to pick one because in the NFL, you cannot play both sides of snap. You cannot all game long. You will either get hurt because you are tired and you are exposed, or you will just be a non-factor. So if I'm a team who's drafting Travis Hunter, he's my cornerback. He's playing cornerback first. And then I'm using him on offense, but in different ways, right? Maybe use him as a kick returner. I don't know. We see a lot of cornerbacks end up back there as like a kick returner. He's got some explosiveness. Maybe you see him as a kick returner kind of guy. So we'll see what kind of happens there. What did John say here? 9 yards on that last rush. Almost had you the first shot of the night. Derek Trade. Yeah, Josh Jacobs. He's rumbling right along, John. He's rumbling right along there. He did say, in my opinion, I think Travis will be a cornerback in the NFL. I agree there. He will be a package deal, though, but wonder how that contract will be written. Maybe he has to hit incentives the first year, then we work his contract. Yeah, I could see that there. I definitely could. I'm honestly, he's a very good cornerback. So that would be the first spot I'm looking at him. And then, like I said, specialty plays, I'm putting him on the offense.
Yeah, because I was trying to think in terms of money-making potential, cornerback or wide receiver. Yeah, I guess you can kind of make good money either way, depending on how good you are. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think he'll play cornerback with a few gimmick plays offensively, wide receiver screen here or there, maybe a reverse, a jet sweep, stuff like that, just to, give him that, because I do think in his mind he wants to play both. But like you said, it's one thing in college, but once you get to the NFL, it's like you eat, sleep, drink your position of football. If you're having to split your week between two positions, that's gonna be tough. So he'll have to commit to one, leaving the option open for the other side of the ball. And it might depend on the coach as well that he gets drafted to. Like if they're innovative or if they're old school, then we'll know whether or not he'll have the opportunity to do both.
Yeah. No, I would agree 100%. I think you gotta pick what side of the ball, and it depends on who drafts him too. But I think in any case, I'm taking him at cornerback first. There's no way he doesn't. I can't think of a team out there that if you do not have enough cornerbacks on your team that you don't need him to play in that cornerback spot. So that'd be the first spot I'm looking at him. And then on the off, you have to put him on offense because he has that ability. I just feel like you have to be able to do it there. What John say there? He's talking about the Patriots there. If he goes to the Patriots, where are you putting him? On the other side of Gonzalez, nasty, but we need wide receiver help bad. And that's where I'm saying is that you kind of play the best of both worlds. You get that help on the defensive side, and you have them for, let's just say you have a third down play, right? 3rd and 5 or something where you need a first down. Here comes Travis Hunter. We put him out in the field. It's not saying the ball's going to him every time you put him out there, but you put him out there and everybody's like, oh, yeah, Travis Hunter's out here. We got to pay attention to this guy now. And then if you don't, because you're like, he's just a decoy, then you're like, well, he's got the ability to get himself open, make some plays. So I like the ability, and I think it would be a great combo with him and Gonzalez in there. So I like that idea. I really do, and we'll see what kind of happens there. I like the Drake May out there with the Patriots right now. The Patriots are building towards something. Hopefully something good, but they're building towards something right now. And I don't know if they're going to be relevant as of next year back into a big picture, but I think they're getting close. They're getting close out there. I mean, I don't know. What team would you say is down and out right now, but is closer? Is there a team that's down and out right now that is closer than the Patriots to being something?
I guess looking at
the Panthers are one of those teams that I'm like, if they were to add some more pieces, yes. Like I'm watching them right now, and I'm like, if this team could add some more pieces, I think they could be something. And that division that they're in with the Buccaneers and the Falcons, and slipped my mind, the Saints there, they are. You could win that division. You could find a way with a terrible record.
8-9, 9-8 type of division, yeah.
Yes, 100%. So, I mean, the Panthers, they've been playing some good football. It's inspired football. I get it. But Bryce Young is proving himself to be a solid guy. Get him some weapons out there. I mean, him and Adam Thielen are just all of a sudden. Adam Thielen's playing like he's prime again. And it's just, it's been nuts to watch. But, I mean, we'll see what kind of happens there. But I do, the Heisman, it's like it sucked because you knew what the outcome was. You really did. But you were just sitting there in the back of your mind. You're like, please just, I want to see Ashton Genty win it. I think he deserves it. And then this is what we end up with. So, I mean, yeah. So we'll see what kind of happens there in Ohio with the flag planting. If they create a felony, because I'm going to go plant that flag then, and we'll see what happens to me. I mean, they'll throw a felony right on me. I don't know.
I hope somebody on the committee or whatever it goes, we can't be serious about this, right? Like,
yes.
This was just you getting out your frustration and whatever. You cannot be serious that you're going to make it a felony to plant a flag, which, yes, it might rile up home fans after a loss, but outside of that, what's the real harm in it?
Yeah.
None.
No, exactly. And, I really hope that somebody in Ohio says, is our taxpayer dollar really being used to stop flag planting at Ohio right now? Like, don't we have bigger fish to fry down here at the moment? John says down and out and closer than Pats. I say give me Panthers and Bears for next year, but after that, Pats should be above too. We agree 100%. We think the Pats are there. The Bears need to find a head coach. I think the guy who could have maybe turned that crap show around would have been Bill Belichick, but they let him walk to North Carolina there. So, I mean, that's whatever at this point. And the Panthers, like we said, the Patriots, they should be above what they are now. I think they'll be a pretty solid, formidable team that can knock off some teams along the way. So, I like that one there. I want to get to our fact of the day and a little Badgers basketball here. But before we get there, what are your thoughts on the Bill Belichick to North Carolina? I mean, it's surprising but I love it. I do. Everybody's like, this is, I've been listening to everybody. Oh, he's not going to go sit in a recruit's living room. He's not going to go sit there. This is what I'm going to tell you. There are about 10 recruits where he'll have to go sit in their living room. They'll all be 5 stars, and they'll all be that top 10, the guys that you want. You really need them, right? Your Arch Mannings of the world and everything else. The 4 stars, the 3 stars, every one of those guys. Do you know how many guys are just going to come to North Carolina because they're like Bill Belichick's the head coach?
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
So you can send out whoever you want, whoever he brings in to be his coordinators and, recruiting guys and everything like that. You can send them to kids' houses, and they are going to know this guy represents Bill Belichick right now. And maybe Bill doesn't even have to leave his office. Maybe he just makes a phone call, right? Mm-hmm. But who isn't answering the phone call from Bill? Who doesn't want to be coached by Bill Belichick? Because guess what? You're on a fast track to the next level at that point. You're on the fast track to the NFL. This is a guy who spent years with the Patriots, and I used to make fun of it, right? They used to get grocery baggers. I'm like, who's Chris Hogan? Who is Julian Edelman at first? I'm like, who's this guy? And who's Wes Welker? And who is all these random guys that he brings in? But all of a sudden, he builds them. And these guys on the defense, it's like they aren't star players when they first come in, but all of a sudden they get built up. He knows how to build a team. He knows how to build it from the inside out. And everybody's like, well, how's he going to work in college? Do you realize that college is basically is professional football at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Money, contracts, everything else. I get it. He's not going to be able to know how to handle a college kid who just had his girlfriend break up with him. He's not going to be able to handle that, right? He has people for that. He can find somebody to go be like, hey, go make sure he's okay. Go make sure he's okay.
Somebody on the staff who that's their job.
Yes.
Like, these players have academic issues, their personal issues. You take care of that. For Bill Belichick, it's going to be game day, getting these kids into the league and making them a playoff team maybe next year. Because I agree with you. When I first heard that the interest was there, I thought like this was him. I don't even know. Maybe trying to stick it to the league because teams that were calling him weren't the teams he was expecting. But then you see like his dad was an assistant at North Carolina during his career. And I'm like, maybe this is just Bill trying to go full circle and probably end his coaching career at the same place that his dad coached. Like it could be something like that. But I think this is going to be fascinating, especially him being at North Carolina and knowing that Bill O'Brien is coaching at BC. BC North Carolina games are going to be interesting to watch. I'm interested to see how long does it take for Belichick to turn them around and make them a good football team. Because it's going to be hard for me to think that it won't be too long before they're competing for an ACC title, competing for a playoff spot. And then once you get into the playoffs, that's where Bill's probably going to shine the most. So, yeah, certain recruits, if they just see that North Carolina is interested in them, they'll be like, Belichick's there, good, I'll take that. It'll be, like you said, the few recruits where it's like North Carolina wants me, Bama wants me, all these big-name schools, and Belichick goes, well, let me sit down with him and sway him to come to North Carolina, where all he has to do is go, yeah, I kind of want at the next level. I know what it takes to get to that next level. You want to play in the NFL, I'll get you to the NFL. He'll drop the rings on the table and be like, I'll put you in a position where you could potentially win one, maybe multiple of these. Who wouldn't take that? And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see.
He should bring on like Julian Edelman to be one of his guys. Like Julian, I know Gronk said he doesn't really want to be a coach or anything like that, but Julian Edelman, I think he would be one of them guys where you could send him out and be like, go to this person's house, go to this, because he loves to talk and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Send him out as your recruiting guy, because who better to send out than a guy who has been to the Super Bowl with this guy? Mm-hmm. Like, send him out to talk to these guys. So, I mean, I'm fascinated. I am. And you look at all these college teams, they're like, well, when do GMs get involved? Bill Belichick's been a GM and a head coach. He's been both, right? Yep. So he has that ability to be able to balance the checkbook while also balancing the workload of his players. So we'll kind of see what happens there. I love it. I love the move there. Tom over on Twitch, who wins this game? Are you talking about I want to make sure before we answer. Are you talking about the Packers Seahawks or which game you talking about there, Tom. If you're still in the chat, let us know which one you're thinking there. John says that he already has the number one quarterback of 2026, multiple transfer 4-stars this year. His staff is what is going. Yeah, I agree. He's going to get a boatload of talent into North Carolina, and I think it only draws more interest from guys like they were talking about Michael Jordan. Like he's like, oh man, let's make this baby, let's make it pop, right? Let's make it pop. We got Bill in here now. Money's going to be through the roof. We're going to have eyes on us now. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these North Carolina games are on like ESPN or bigger primetime slot and everything like that. And
college game day going down there.
Yeah, and the big thing, how much easier is it for Bill Belichick to walk into an ACC team and get him to the ACC title game? Way easier than him jumping into like the SEC and trying to get them ahead of Alabama or somebody like that right away. So, I mean, like you said, we could see him year one with a turned over roster end up getting to an ACC title game and leading him to a college football playoff, which would be awesome. It'd be awesome because I want nothing more to shut up every single person who is sitting there like, he can't do it. He can't do it. It's going to explode. Like, what? Why? Why is it going to explode? Like, that's what I want to know. Why do you think it's going to explode? I just think you're nuts. Like, this guy is proven it at the highest level, and they're like, well, how can he coach the way that he does and do it in college?
Nick Saban. That's why I think the hang up is I think people, they think about Belichick with New England. It was very hard-nosed, very dry, very, whatever. And they think college kids won't necessarily respond to that. But I think what people fail to realize is all former players said Bill in front of a podium and Bill in the locker room are two different guys. And in the locker room, he shows a fun side. He shows a sense of humor. He shows stuff like that. And I feel like that part, he'll be able to do well at college. John's right. Yeah, like Michael Lombardi's going to be the general manager. Like, it's going to be a who's who of a coaching staff. Like you said, why not Edelman? Why not like a Brian Hoyer, like a quarterback coach type of thing?
Chris,
look, if I'm Gronk, maybe Gronk doesn't want to be an NFL coach, but you put Gronk on a college campus, Friday nights at the frat house, Gronk's kicking down the door. Like, why wouldn't he do that?
Dragging the boys out like, we got a game tomorrow, guys. And they're like, whoa, was that Gronk? Slams one back on the way out. He's got to slam a beer on the way out.
Like, Bill will tap into former players, who knows? Maybe like a Josh McDaniels pops up.
Or a Tom Brady. Like, what tells you that Bill Belichick can't be like, hey, Tom, you want to come out for a day and just look at my quarterback? Talk to him. Talk to him a little bit. Like, what tells you that kind of thing couldn't happen? He has so many connections beyond the little guys. He has all these connections out there. And why won't it work? Nick Saban worked. Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are actually very close. So, I mean, I don't know. I love it. I love the move there. And he's talking about John says if they make playoffs in the next 2 years, did he reset the coach's salary? $10 million a year. Saban was making 11, Kirby making 13. Most coaches is around $4 million. Yeah, kind of. I don't know. You'd have to see Bill's Bill. Like to get Bill in, that's a different kind of. I really did. I was in your kind of boat with Bill Belichick. I was like, he's just entertaining the North Carolina job. He isn't actually coming in. He kind of just wants to, spark up NFL teams' interest. And then all of a sudden it's like he's taking the job. It was weird. It was definitely an odd thing there, but can't wait to see what he does there in North Carolina with this team. So, Kyle, what's our fact of the day today for December 15th, as we see the Packers put it into the end zone there. Romeo Doubs back, and he puts her into the end zone. Yep. Gotta love that there. He is wearing the Guardian cap tonight. So, a little wary of it now. I love it. I like it. I like it. You're a little wary of it. I do. I agree. You get a concussion or anything like that. Like, I love to see it. I do. I love to see him have it on there. And the all white, too. They got the all white uniforms on. He's got the all white Guardian cap on. That's awesome. That is awesome there. But, Kyle, what do we got? Fact of the day for today, December 15th.
Let's see. So I will say, because like I said, Anthony's been commenting on mine. He said Travis Hunter needs to gain some weight, which I feel like if he wants to play both ways there. Travis might go to Jacksonville is what Anthony's predicting.
Okay.
Says the Colts need a quarterback, and he thinks Bill to UNC was a PR move. We know he's doing it so his son could be the head coach soon.
Why not? Why not? Bring your son with. They get Bill Belichick first, then they get his son. Why not do it that way?
The Belichick name will carry some weight. All right, so fact of the day. Like, this is going to kind of tease the sweet tooth in everybody. So December 15th is known as Lemon Cupcake Day. Don't know how many of you are lemon cupcake fans, but it's a holiday food, whatever, encourages everyone to indulge in the delicious lemon-flavored cupcake to celebrate. So now remember, December 15th, go out, make a batch of lemon cupcakes, if that's your thing, and you'll remember December 15th from now on.
All right.
I did not know lemon cupcake had a day. Now I do.
I don't like lemon cupcakes. I mean, I don't like really lemon anything. Like lemon meringue pie. Ugh. Like, not a fan. Not a fan.
I think the key when it comes to lemon is you got to get the right balance with it. Like, you don't want the lemon
less lemon, more everything else.
So if you put like a little bit in there, get a little lemon kick, yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I will say, all right, you go out ice fishing, you catch yourself a few, whatever you're catching, walleye, perch, whatever you're catching that day. You slap a little lemon on the top of that. All right, we're talking now. Like, we're talking a little fresh fish with a little bit of lemon. Lemon meringue pie or a lemon cupcake, like, think of something else. Like, there's vanilla, there's chocolate, you could think of 9,000 other combinations. But the first one you're thinking of lemon, oof. All right. So we'll take it. We'll take it. You know, I can complain about the different combinations of cupcakes, but I've seen Oreos, and Oreos are just whack these days. They have like 9 bazillion different Oreos they come out with. There's a Lady Gaga version of it. There's Aaron and I were looking it up one night there, and it is crazy how many different kinds of Oreos. Coca-Cola Oreos. My wife had them at the house here at one point. Disgusting. Like, those things are absolutely disgusting. Sour Patch Kids ones, those were gross too. Not gonna lie, did not like. What if you're in the comments section right now? What was your favorite Oreo? Let me know what your favorite Oreo was out there. Hey, Kyle, what's your favorite Oreo? Like, you know, what is your go-to? Like, don't say original, all right? Don't say original.
That's boring. Come on. I will say, like, their Oreo thin line. Like, at one point they had a pistachio one. Not gonna lie, I really like the pistachio one, and for some reason I feel like I don't see it on shelves anymore. So I will say that one. And I guess like the golden Oreo.
Vanilla.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one there. John says the orange flavor. What's up with that? The orange flavor? Come on now. I like birthday cake. Birthday cake was a good one.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
No, you can't go wrong. Now, if you start getting into the Lady Gaga version and everything else, you're getting a little wild with me there. I could not. The Sour Patch ones, I like Sour Patch Kids. I like Oreos, but don't put them together. Like, there's lines that can't be crossed, and that was a line that was crossed that day when they were like, let's do this. Like, no. And then the Lady Gaga version, that's like what you would expect out of Lady Gaga. Like, that is it right there. The pink one, not going to have it. Not going to have it there. But, Kyle, we got to get to some good stuff that happened over the weekend. The Badgers finally got back in the win column. Holy crap. It was like 3 straight losses, 3 straight road losses. They lost them, or not road losses. They lost to Michigan at home. And then they went on the road. They lost to Marquette. And then they lose that game to Illinois. And it's like, oh my goodness. Like, let's rattle off a win here, boys. Let's rally the troops. Let's get back at it. Greg Gard goes after Stephen Crowell. He's like, this guy's got to play better. He does. He shows up. In 17 minutes of action against Butler there, he has 18 points. He has 6 rebounds in that one, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 2 for 3 from downtown. Stephen Crowell was a big factor. And it's promising. It's promising moving forward. Now, why did it take Greg Gard basically telling him, like, hey, dude, you're sucking. We're going to start limiting your minutes if you don't start playing better? Why did it take that? Spark this out of him? I don't know, but it's nice to see that Stephen Crowell's a coachable guy. He didn't react to Greg Gard in his press conference, ultimately saying like, dude, you're sucking right now. He didn't react to it like, I'm going to shut down. I don't want to play for this guy anymore. He's like, let's build ourselves. Let's get back to it, right? We got to get better. He got better in this game. So it's promising moving forward there. I don't need Stephen Crowell to be, the star. He doesn't have to be a star. I have Tanjay. I have Blackwell. Those are my stars. I need you to be a guy. I just need you to be a guy. I don't need you to be, this offensive just juggernaut. Some nights I want you to be, but on other nights, I want you to be a great facilitator of the basketball. I need you to be a presence on the inside that teams still have to respect. And I need you to be a threat from the outside. If you're going to be on the outside and you have a wide open shot, just can it. Just put her up there. And we saw that in this one. No hesitation, took his chances when they're there, started out the game early and did his thing. I love to see it. So Steven Crowell is a big day for the Badgers there. Nolan Winter continues to impress me. He continues to impress me over the last few here. In this game, he had 29 minutes played. He had 20 points. He had 8 rebounds in this one. He might not be, he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not, he's tall, he's 6'10", but he doesn't have that size yet. He doesn't have that big, bulky size yet to him, but he plays big and he plays tough down there. And those are the things that you need to see out of a guy like Nolan Winter at this point here. And he's proven that he can shoot it from the outside a little bit. He can get downhill, which I love. This is a guy who he gets it out of that 3-point line. He's got the ability to drive to the basket and make some moves on the way down there. He's still not completely agile at times. It seems like he's a little like on skates at times when he's coming down the lane, but he's proven that since last season, he has definitely upgraded his game there, and he's not afraid to get down low. He's not afraid to get dirty. He's not afraid to go up and get the rebounds, and I love that. And he had 3 offensive rebounds in this game. He had 5 on the defensive end, 3 on the offensive end. You love a guy who's going to get after the basketball. So Nolan Winter definitely played well in this one here. It was weird. So John Tonje and Blackwell both in double figures, but both of them kind of subpar. They were subpar on the day. Not a whole lot happening for him there. John Tonje, sometimes he almost takes himself out of it. I wish at times he would take it to the rim more often. And a lot of people are like, oh, John Tonje, he's not that good. All he wants, Marquette fans, right? Marquette fans are going to tell you this all the time. He's not that good. All he wants to do is, get fouled. That's part of the game there, folks. That's part of the game. And John Tonje does it very well. Gets himself to the rim. He's able to draw fouls when he gets there. Finish. That's big keys to John Tonje. At times, I think he kind of gets away from that. He kind of stays stagnant. He's not looking to drive. He's not looking to get to the rim and get fouled. And then all of a sudden he goes, right? I wish he'd be a little more of a presence at times. Take it to the rim, man. Like, you're our star. You are our star. We want you to be the star. Go and get it. So John Tonje didn't play a bad game, but he's kind of gone away. I want to see him get back to that form there. John Blackwell, kind of subpar day along with him too there. He had 10 points, 0 for 3 from downtown, 4 for 9 from the field. Just an average day from John Blackwell. So, I don't know if it's the game planning or if it's the scheming or what it is, but it seems like at one game we got our guards going and our bigs aren't involved, and then all of a sudden the next game our bigs are involved and our guards aren't going. It's like we got to put it all together, right? Just get it all put together, and when they do, this is a pretty darn good team. Kamari McGee coming off the bench there. Jack Janicki's been giving good minutes. Carter Gilmore's been fantastic in the minutes he's been getting. It comes down to, like I talked about early on this season, we're coming off a win here, so I don't want to make it seem like the Badgers didn't get a win there, but it comes back to what I was talking about with the beginning of the year with this team is moving the basketball around, moving it at a fast pace, finding open shooters, cutting the lane, hitting those cutters in stride, all those little things. And they did it at times in this game here, but those are things that they got to get back to involve everybody in this one, because early on, it was Steven Crowell passing the basketball. It was John Tonje on the outside. And it kind of, we see moments and then it goes away. So those are some of the things that I'm looking at here. Carter Gilmore and Steven Crowell, even Nolan Winter, they hesitate sometimes out there at the 3-point line. Carter Gilmore is known for this. He loves that shot fake. He'll stand out there, he'll do a shot fake, and then he'll look to drive, and then he'll kick it around somewhere else. Just shoot it, brother. Just shoot it. I mean, he's 1 for 2 in this game here. He's been pretty good from downtown on the season. This is a guy who's definitely developed a little bit on the outside. Just shoot it, man. Like, you shoot 2 threes in a game, I'm good. 3 threes, I'm good. Now, if you get crazy with it, I don't want to see that. Like, you are not that great of a 3-point shooter. I want to see that there. But I hate the hesitation. Like, just pull it. If you're open, just pull it in these games here. Max Klesmit. That's the guy I want to look at. Max Klesmit coming into this season, I was like, this guy, I'm expecting him to have one of those kinds of years. And so far, he's had a couple games where he got hot, but he's kind of fizzled, right? 29% from downtown on the season there, 33% from the floor. Like, Max Klesmit I don't want to say I'm worried yet, but I want to say that there's something going on with this guy, because I've seen him airball a couple of threes so far. And it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous for it, because it's like, is there something like, you think of the mental, it's a mental side of the game then. It's like, he's just got to see a couple go in, right? And I thought it was going to be the Marquette game. Marquette, he went off. And I was like, okay, Max Klesmit's feeling it again. Like, we're good. And then all of a sudden here, again, 1 for 7 in this game. And it's like, it's just not there yet. So hopefully we see Klesmit start to figure it out here over the coming weeks. But, I mean, just confidence, right? With Max Klesmit, the big thing for me It's just shooting with confidence, getting him confident back in himself. I don't, like I was talking about with Crowell, I don't need Klesmit to be the guy. He doesn't have to be the guy, but he needs to be a factor. And right now, he's not even that factor for you. I think a big part with him, too, is he's trying to create a lot of shots. He's trying to create a lot of shots off the dribble. And he's a guy who can do it, but that's not his highest percentage. His highest percentage is going to be that catch and shoot kind of guy. So getting him into the positions where the basketball is moving around hot and heavy and he's able to get those catch and shoot situations, I think that's going to help Max Klesmit a lot there. Love to start of this game against Butler, establishing the inside. We talked about their lack of post presence against Illinois. They got outscored by dang near 20 in the paint area. This game here, they controlled the paint, so you got to love that. The free throw line, once again, was their best friend. It was their best friend in this one, and sometimes it's got to be what it is, right? So I love their ability to get to the line and finishing when they get there. Only 3 turnovers in this game against Butler. I mean, what more? What more do you want to say? 3 turnovers in an entire basketball game. That's impressive all the way around. They led wire to wire. Every single time Butler made a run, got it down to 5. Wisconsin was able to answer back and take control of this one. 40 points in the paint. That is awesome. And then 19 assists is big in this one. 19 assists for the Badgers in this one all the way around. Love that stuff there. So, Kyle, anything for you stick out in that stat line for this Badger team in this one?
Yeah, I mean, look, you mentioned the free throw line. And when you're a team like Wisconsin that the three-point shot just hasn't been there, I mean, they were 6 for 25, 24%. Like, that's not really going to get it done for you. But if you're not just settling out there and actually getting to the rim, getting to the line and taking advantage of that, you can kind of counter out the low percentage from 3 if you are going to get 20, 25 free throw attempts. That's going to put other players, in the opposition in foul trouble. It's a way for you to, stop runs, to slow the momentum. Like, it's definitely a big deal there. I mean, I'll say it again. I would like to see, if you're going to shoot 25 threes, you gotta make more than 6. But look, you beat a Butler school that, it might not be the Brad Stevens Butler team, but Butler's no small feat to go up against. So this is a good confidence boost. You're 0-2 in the Big Ten play, but you've got Iowa staring you down in a couple of games. And look, you build the wins now, because when you get into that grueling Big Ten schedule, you'll put some wins behind you and put yourself in a position to obviously be there March for the tournament. And, we'll see what they look like at that point. But for me, it's still the perimeter shooting would be a worry. But the points in the paint, you dominate points in the paint, you dominate at the free throw line, you will win games even if you struggle from 3. The scary part is, if they could put it all together, dominate in the paint, take advantage of the line, and shoot a decent percentage from 3, like, now you're talking about a team that could be a Big Ten title, could be in your future, and maybe a deep run in March. I'm not saying you cut down the nets or anything, but maybe you're, Sweet 16, Elite 8 type of team. You're a tough out for somebody. Like, the potential's there, I think, with Wisconsin. And, you just have to see it with each game, how they get better, how they establish themselves in terms of, your go-to players, your complementary players that you can rely on night in and night out. I feel like that's where they're still kind of figuring things out. But, yeah, I would love to see a stat line where they shoot well from 3 and have the paint presence and see what kind of team they look like.
Yeah, no, and defensively is where I kind of have question marks with this team right now, too. They're kind of struggling defensively at the moment. A lot of it is in that ball screen action that is hurting. But I'm looking at the bigs, and I'm like, interior defensively has got to get a little bit better. So that's what we're kind of looking at defensively. Now, the weird part is the Badgers are going to have this break here. So they played Butler. They're going to play Detroit Mercy on December 22nd, and then they don't play again until the 3rd of January. So that is quite the little break that they're going to have in there. This was a big win in the fact of, say you drop this game. You lost 4 in a row. You lose to Michigan. You lose to Marquette. You lose to Illinois there, and then you lose to Butler. Going into that game, then you got Detroit Mercy, but then you have nothing. Like you could that I feel like that would hurt. That would hurt a lot. So getting this win is a confidence booster for this big stretch where they're going to have off days where you should win that game against Detroit Mercy, I hope, right? Knock on wood. You should win that game. But outside of that, then you have Iowa after that, but you have a big break there. So this is a big win to get that confidence booster going into this kind of stretch run where you're off for a while before the gauntlet starts with the Big Ten schedule there. So we'll kind of see what happens. John did say, he was talking about college basketball. Biggest jump so far is Kentucky. Biggest drop was UConn, but slowly clawing back. In my opinion, best team as of right now is Kansas, Duke, Florida, Auburn, Iowa State, Bama, Dayton, Marquette, MSU. Sleeper is Memphis there. Yeah, Kansas is iffy. AJ Storr, I did see AJ Storr is not having his best time down there in Kansas right now. So leaves Wisconsin for greener pastures and not really feeling it on the backside of it. So we'll see what happens there with AJ Storr in Kansas, but they got a solid, well-rounded team. Florida's been playing well. I agree with that there. Duke has got a lot of star power on that team. Auburn, a lot of star power on that team. Bama, they just kicked the crap out of. I don't remember who the heck I was watching them play yesterday there, but kind of a butt kicking in that one. Dayton did beat Marquette yesterday, so big win there for Dayton. And Michigan State, they're always good. Michigan State's always good. Tom Izzo always has them coached up right there, so we'll kind of see what happens. Not sure what is.
I'm assuming Hannah didn't like my somewhat confident outlook on Wisconsin. Look, I'm not saying Wisconsin's going to win the title here. I'm just saying that you give me a team in when you're looking at college basketball, if they can dominate you at the free throw line, in the paint, like you can do some things. You have your turnovers down where they had in this game, so you're not giving away points. Like you can do some things. That's all I'm saying. I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that they're gonna make the Final Four or anything like that, but they could be. I don't know. You never know. That's what the tournament's like. Okay, I still said I would like to see the 3-point shooting get better, and I feel like that's definitely still a work in progress. Because that would kind of start looking like. Cause I know John put like give me Purdue over Wisconsin. I feel like for a while there with Purdue, what kind of got them in the tournament was that their perimeter shooting would kind of be non-existent, and then their kind of margin of victory would be like razor thin, and they'd go up against like a really fast team that could shoot from three, and they wouldn't really have an answer. So that's why I'm saying with Wisconsin that if they can improve their 3-point shooting, they could probably avoid something like that. Because that would be the worry. You get one of these schools that fly up and down the court, launch threes, you find yourself behind. If you can't shoot threes on your own, it's kind of hard for you to come back in those type of games.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Wisconsin's got the ability to beat you in multiple different ways, right? And we've seen them with the ability to get to the free throw line and slow down games, so I kind of like that there. John did say, give me Purdue over Wisconsin. Give me Wisconsin over Oregon, John. I've had enough. Oregon, Purdue, MSU, Maryland over Wisconsin. Oh, just stop it.
Once Wisconsin gets into Big Ten play, like you'll see where they stack up against other teams.
Yes, we saw them against Michigan, and Michigan, that team is good. That team is very good with Wolf out there in Golden. And then, you look at Illinois. Did anybody watch that game last night where they played Tennessee in Illinois, and it took Tennessee a buzzer beater to win that one against Illinois. And Illinois did not shoot the ball well, but they played defense very well. So Illinois, pretty darn good team, and the Badgers lost both those games close. So it kind of tells you where these teams, it's early season. We'll kind of see where it wraps up. You don't know a lot until you get into that Big Ten stretch. And it's a gauntlet of a season now in the Big Ten. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But I mean, Badger basketball, they're off now until the 22nd when they're going to take on Detroit Mercy there. John's telling us that Tennessee's overrated. Okay. Tennessee's overrated. All right. Dalton Connect's gone and we all just shoot on Tennessee. That's all right. There. So I did want to mention, real fast here, just because we are talking about college basketball at the moment here. Wisconsin women's basketball is off to a I don't want to say that they're going to run the table here and be crazy good this year or anything, wild. I don't want to get wild with it here because I don't know about that. But they're 9-2 to start the season, and Wisconsin women's basketball hasn't been able to say that they've been 9-2 in a very long time. Mm-hmm. So an impressive start to this season. They had a big comeback win against Butler. We're just talking about Wisconsin-Butler. Wisconsin women's team played Butler just the other night there and got the big double overtime win there, 71-64 in that one. And Sarah Williams has been fantastic this season. I was watching a little bit of video from that one, watched a little bit of the game, and then watched a little bit of the highlight, the cinematic view, right? They always do the cinematic version after the game, and I watched that, and she is fantastic in the post area. I don't care if they end up as, a bottom feeder in the Big Ten again or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. She has been fantastic in the post. Watching her with her footwork down there, the soft touches that she has, agile, just crazy. Just watching her, she is a very good post player, and she had a fantastic night the other night. I believe she had 36 points against Butler there, and that's all on the inside. Remember that. This is no three-point shooting from Sarah Williams. This is all on the inside. So it's fantastic. Career high numbers for her there. She's averaging 19 points a game, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists. So not just is she getting after it, scoring the basketball, she can rebound the basketball too. So you love that there. And also Porter has been fantastic for him there. She's making things happen, getting to the rim, making things happen along the way. 12 points a game, almost 5 assists. And then Lozinger has been fantastic, averaging 39% from downtown on the season. They're about 9 points per game. So she's been great from the three-point line. So women's basketball has been fantastic here to start the year. They're going to have a game against Albany coming up on the 20th before they get back into Big Ten play on the 28th there against Indiana. So hopefully Wisconsin's women's basketball, I'm not expecting them to run the table and win the Big Ten or win the NCAA tournament. Like, we're not going to get crazy with it here, but hopefully we're building towards something. It's been a while since Wisconsin's women's basketball team has been relevant to the world there. So good stuff there from them. John says, yeah, 100%. I didn't want to forget that there. Yeah. Dick Vitale beat cancer once again. I mean, the story is unreal. It's like when he posts to me that he beat cancer, and then a couple weeks later, it's like I'm in chemo again or something like that. So hopefully for this time, done with it there. We love to see it. Prayers off to him that it stays away this time, and he's able to get back on the sideline at some point in some capacity. I just want to hear him. I just want to see him on the sideline one more time. Duke, North Carolina, put him on the sideline one more time. Like, nothing would bring the college basketball world any more joy than to see him on the sideline one more time there. So gotta love that all the way around. But Kyle, let's get into it to wrap it up for the day here. Let's get into this Brewer talk. Let's get into some Brewer talk there. So Devin Williams traded to the Yankees. So first off, I just want to say it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure having Devin Williams. I mean, at one point, and it still rings true, he has one of the most unhittable pitches in baseball when that baby's on. Because that changeup, the airbender, it was well-deserved. That guy was unreal when he was on. Playoff Devin Williams, never able to really get it, right? But the regular season Devin Williams was great. So just want to say pleasure to have him around. But Devin Williams to the Yankees for Nestor Cortez and Caleb Durbin. So Nestor Cortez, left-handed pitcher. Question is, what's he going to be to the Brewers? Is he going to be a starter? Is he going to be in the bullpen? What are you going to do with Nestor there? This was basically, so the contracts are essentially the same. So you look at this and you're like, okay, the contracts are the same. We're just swapping a left-handed starting pitcher for a reliever. I mean, Kyle, what do you think? Do the Brewers put him as a starter, or are they kind of gonna bullpen usage? Like, where would you put Nestor Cortez?
Well, here's the weird thing. It's like for some pitchers, when they get out of New York, they perform better. For whatever reason, that Yankee Stadium and just playing for the Yankees, for some pitchers, they just struggle with it. I mean, I've seen what James Paxton goes to the Yankees. People think he stinks. They think he's done. Then he leaves there, and he resurrects his career for a couple of years. So I mean, I'm not a Nestor Cortez guy in any way. I can't stand the antics on the mound and everything like that. But I do think that there is a reason for optimism to think that now that he's gotten out of New York, he gets that bump like we've seen so many other pitchers do. I think what you do with him is you put him in the back end of your rotation. That way, if he struggles and just shows like some of the same issues he had in New York, I think it's an easier transition to put him in the bullpen. So I would start him as a starter because that's what he's been, but you don't let him linger too long in the rotation, go through too many rounds of the rotation if he's not effective. Like, have somebody on standby that can do a spot start for you while you put him in the pen, and maybe he becomes like a swing pitcher. If there's a guy in the rotation you want to give an extra day to and you need a starter, you throw Nestor out there. You kind of just treat him like he's like a sixth man, right, in NBA. When they're going, you let them go. When they're struggling, you pull back on them and you lessen their role a little bit until they figure it out again. So I would start him in the rotation and hope he's just more effective and more consistent than he was at times last year with the Yankees.
If there's a team who's going to get the best out of him, it's going to be the Brewers. Like, you just look at the guys they bring in consistently. Aaron Savale last year stunk when he was coming in. Look what he was able to do in Milwaukee. Same with Frankie Montas. He struggled when he was coming in. He was able to figure it out. So if there's a team that's going to be able to fix it or get the best out of them, it's going to be the Brewers. So I do agree. He's going to start in that rotation for him there. Low 90s fastball, cutter, sweeper, changeup. That's what he's got in his arsenal. He's going to look for the ground ball. He's going to look to try to keep the ball. He's going to put it in play. And the Brewers defensively, they got the guys to make the plays. So I like, it's not a bad combo. It's not a bad combo at all there. He's dealt with injury over the past couple seasons too. So that definitely does not help his case at all for the struggles there. He's got that swing and miss stuff. Like I was just mentioning it there with the pitches. He's got the swing and miss stuff. So hopefully the Brewers can kind of get that out of him there. They did also bring in Caleb Durbin, second baseman there, second base, third baseman there, Caleb Durbin. Last season there at AAA, he had a 287 batting average, 396 on base percentage, 471 slugging, 867 OPS, 10 home runs, 29 stolen bases, only caught 3 times on the season. So a little bit of speed there, only caught 3 times, very smart on the base paths, puts bat on ball. That's the big thing with him. 91% of his swings in the zone are made, he makes contact. So that's impressive work out of him there. Loves to pull the ball. So that might help him out in Milwaukee there, pulling the baseball. But he doesn't. The thing with him is he's very similar to a guy that we already know for the Brewers, and that is Sal Frelick. Because both these guys have a low average exit velocity and hard hit rate. He's actually, I believe, he was one. If he would have been in the majors last season, he would have ranked, I believe, in the bottom of the majors in hard hit rate. So Durbin he's similar to what you get out of Sal Frelick. Is essentially where I'm getting with that one. He doesn't have the greatest arm strength either. So, a lot of Brewer fans are like, oh, we'll see him at third base for the Brewers. I don't know. Does he have the arm strength? We'll see what kind of happens there or what they decide on that one. We've seen Pat Murphy. He said, he expects Terang to stay at second base and move Joey Ortiz over to shortstop there. Does that arm strength of Durbin kind of make him question that? We'll wait and see on that one there. I mean, Kyle, I did see the Dodgers offer too. Because the Dodgers did offer on Devin Williams. Now that we know what the trade was with the Yankees, they did send some cash along too. Mm-hmm. But the Dodgers, they offered Gavin Lux and catching prospect Hunter Fiducian, who was pretty solid last season for him at their AAA level, did play a little bit at the big league level. I believe what did he do? He had 12 at-bats. He batted .333 at the big league level. Didn't get a lot of time, but was up in the bigs for a little bit there. But so what deal? You're basically out of these two. You're not really grading out the prospect. They like Durbin more than they like the prospect of getting another catcher. Gavin Lux, Gavin Lux or Nestor Cortez. I guess where would you have been looking if you're the Brewers? Did you think the Brewers made the right move?
I mean, look, I feel like it's tough not to take the pitcher because it's there'll be times like dog days of summer or later in the year where pitching is always going to be needed. So I think for me, if I have the opportunity to get a pitcher, I would go with that move. I mean, the hesitation obviously is, like I said, I'm not a Nestor Cortez guy, but because he's out of New York, I just have this weird feeling he's going to be a more effective pitcher next year. And if that's the case, then I think Milwaukee made the right decision.
Yeah, no, I like the move, and I like Durbin. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's got the speed, which the Brewers love. They love their ability to run the bases, and that's what I think he's going to bring there. It would have been cool to see Gavin Lux. He's a Wisconsin guy. Get him into a Brewers uniform like that would have been cool. But Gavin Lux, he's always. I don't want to say that he's not good, but he's not. He's not he's not a blow you away kind of guy. He's not at all. So he would have been an average guy. Bring him into a spot where you almost need above average. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the Brewers do. Maybe they're not done yet. This is I did see that the Brewers are possibly looking at trading Rhys Hoskins. Kyle, are you moving on from Rhys Hoskins? If you're the Brewers, you just lost Willy Adames, right? That was your big thump in your lineup. You lost Willy Adames. Rhys Hoskins is some of that thump there. You have no Gary Sanchez anymore. You trade away Rhys Hoskins, unless if you're bringing back, I don't know, Francisco Lindor. I have no idea. You got to add some thump. You got to have some kind of big bat in there who's going to be a home run threat. Yeah. And if you get rid of Rhys Hoskins, what do you have left? William Contreras, Christian Yelich. You're not expecting Sal Frelick to hit a lot of bombs, not Bryce Terang, not Joey Ortiz. Like, you cannot afford to lose him, can you?
I guess technically you can if you're kind of shifting your offensive focus. Like if you want to field a team that's, gap hitters and running the bases, then yeah. But I do think you should have at least that guy that's a threat to knock one out of the park. So if you're going to move on from Rhys Hoskins, then I would think that there's some subsequent move that comes after that where they maybe target – I'm trying to think of who. I guess target somebody else who probably plays like maybe a corner infielder, corner outfielder that has some pop in their bat. I'm trying to think of like who's available like that's out there that probably fits that if they're moving on from Rhys Hoskins, they might think they have a shot at somebody else.
That's my only option. Maybe Paul Goldschmidt's cheaper. Right, so if you move on, but who knows with Paul Goldschmidt? Are you going to be able to get the home run power? Are you going to get what are you going to get out of Paul Goldschmidt? He had a down year last year. Like if you trade away Rhys Hoskins and you cannot find another first baseman, because you have prospects who can play first base, but Tyler Black is not going to come in and give you 25 home runs. I don't know if he's going to give you 20. I don't know if he's going to give you 15. Yeah. So you can't try and replace. You got to have some kind of thump in your lineup. You have to have something. And if you trade away Rhys Hoskins, what do you have? I mean, you could try and build a team off of just speed and contact, and maybe that works for a little while, right? But you got to have some kind of threat. And if they're gone, I mean, you're banking on Christian Yelich going for 30 bombs next year.
Yeah. Which he has the potential to do it for sure, but you just worry about him health-wise. I mean, I'm looking at first basemen that are out there. Like you're looking at obviously Pete Alonso, but I feel like a lot of people think Alonso probably just ends up back in New York. Maybe I don't know, but they did spend all that money for Soto. You got Christian Walker, who keeps coming up as a guy that's gonna be somewhere else.
I wouldn't hate Christian Walker. I wouldn't hate it, but what are the odds now that? Who else needs a first baseman? That's the question. Who else needs one? And are you going to be able to win a bidding war for Christian Walker? Because if Pete Alonso and Christian Walker are your two best first basemen on the market, who are you beating in a bidding war right now? We might have like $15 million to spend on the entire free agent pool for this next season. Who are you going to beat out? You can't even beat the Diamondbacks for that offer.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Now with the books they have, now with the money that we have now, I mean, they're talking about now that Bally is gone from the Brewers and they're not making that money anymore. The checkbook is even more closed than it was before. Like, I don't even know how that's possible.
I mean, there are cheaper options.
Give me the cheaper options. What are our cheaper options?
If you don't mind Carlos Santana's age, I mean, he's pushing 40, which...
Well, we had Carlos Santana at one point. He was with the Brewers for a little bit. I don't hate him.
If you miss Walker, Santana would have a smaller price tag. Like you said, you've had him before. He's familiar with the team, with the fan base and everything like that. Maybe that's like a bridge type of solution until you really attack the first baseman position maybe next year or through a different deal with a younger player involved. Like, there are ways to go about it. I mean, it's like I said, not the best like free agent first baseman market, because then once you get past that, it's like Justin Turner, Josh Bells, Anthony Rizzo. Like, hey, that would make the Cub Brewer thing a lot more interesting. You're bringing Anthony Rizzo.
But Anthony Rizzo is, unless if you think he can have a complete career turnaround in Milwaukee. I mean, it's the question of
declining at a rapid rate.
What can you get back? What are you going to get back for Rhys Hoskins, who had a down year last year? What are you going to get back for him? I mean, that's the biggest question for me. And if you're not going to get anything back for him, and you think, unless if you think that you're not going to be able to compete for the division, which I don't. Right now, I think the Brewers are the favorite. They're my favorite to win the division, and that's not being biased aside. I think they're my favorite to win the division. The Cubs did get Kyle Tucker, so they're getting a little bit better, but I still have the Brewers as my favorite to win that division. But if you get rid of Rhys Hoskins, are you truthfully – I don't think you'd get better. I don't think, unless if you went out and spent money, but I don't think the Brewers are going to spend money. So you owe them $18 million for 2025. I think you stick with it. And I'm going to be honest with you, if there's a guy out there who I believe is going to have a turnaround season next year, if Rhys Hoskins has got any kind of motor, which I think he does, he's going to be that guy. I think he's got a different kind of drive going into this next year to be a difference maker for the Brewers, and he loves it in Milwaukee. So I would not trade him, to be honest with you, because I don't think you're going to get anything in return on that side of it there. But the Cubs did get Kyle Tucker. What do you think of that move?
I can't say I saw that one. I can't say that I thought about that one being a potential move that they would make, but I mean, if you're the Cubs, like, why not? You know, you're obviously looking for that lefty bat. I feel like they went through the Cody Bellinger era, which was so you bring in Kyle Tucker, hoping for an improvement there. Yeah, why not? I think it was a good move for them. Like I said, was surprised that's where he ended up, but I don't hate it. Don't hate it at all.
No, and I like the move for the Astros too. You get Isaac Paredes back; he's a pretty good prospect. Hayden Wieneski and Cam Smith, so they get a decent deal out of it too. And Kyle Tucker now on his way to Chicago. We'll kind of see. The Cubs are trying to retool and catch up. That's basically what they got going on at this point here. Outside of that, I was just looking through the rest of the moves that have been made so far. I mean, we did have the Rule 5 draft come and go there. Grant Wolfram came to the Brewers, our left-handed pitcher. He's pretty darn good. So I like that grab that they had there. Outside of that, not really seeing much. The Red Sox, your Red Sox did get Garrett Crochet, though. I mean, how you feeling about that move? That's a heck of a move to bolster that rotation up.
Yeah, I mean, it was a move that was needed. You know, they missed out on Soto. I think the fan base was just wanting the team to do something. And look, you get a sought-after pitcher that was available. You pulled the trigger on them. For me, it's about what's next. My whole thing has been I would have liked to see 2 starters. So obviously a lot of Red Sox fans are like, go get Burns, but the Red Sox have been real hesitant with pitchers that are like 30 and giving them long-term deals, so that might be out. You know, they missed on Max Fried, which I feel like I'm okay with that. I mean, what are you looking at? Like Flaherty as a pitcher who could come in, which I wouldn't hate that, because I've said, like, if you had Burns, Fried, or made the deal for Crochet and had like Flaherty on somewhere in that rotation as well, you're better than they were last year. They got a bullpen guy. They got Chapman. Not necessarily thrilled with that. Wouldn't mind seeing another bullpen guy picked up, but at least they're doing something. but I need to see them get a bat as well. Whether that is, Santander or I don't know, somebody. I mean, the Vlad situation's kind of weird with Toronto because it's like Toronto's not going to pay him. He doesn't necessarily want what Toronto's offering. So if they if Vlad becomes available, you got to wonder where he ends up. I wouldn't mind seeing Vlad in Boston, but if I'm Toronto, I'm like, I wouldn't trade him to an in-divisional rival team like that. So that's probably pie in the sky. But yeah, Crochet shows that they're willing to at least do something. There was like a lot of Red Sox fans who are like, once you miss on Soto, the burn stuff seems like it's not really that big of a deal. I think we were afraid that it was going to be another offseason with a lot of promises and not anything delivered. So, got Crochet, fine. Oh, Bregman. Bregman's a name I keep hearing
Bregman's still
thrown around a lot with the Red Sox. I wouldn't hate it. He said he's willing to play like second base because obviously Devers is at third. Then there's this stuff about Devers maybe going to first, but you have like Costas over there. I thought like, that's like way too much. Like,
yep.
Bregman wants to play second. Let him play second. Second's been a hole for the Red Sox for a couple of years. They tried Vaughn Grissom. He couldn't stay healthy. So if he can't stay healthy again, then yeah, I'd rather have Bregman play second, even though Bregman isn't. It's not like the same Bregman from, like 5 years ago, where he was like a really good player. Like he's fallen off a little bit, but I would still take him. Just get him back.
I thought they missed on Willy Adames too. I thought the Red Sox would deal in on Willie. Willie ends up with the Giants. That was a big deal though for Willie. So I mean, I'm happy for Willy Adames to go get that contract there. Jones for over there on Twitch, he says, "What is going on tonight? What is going on with you there, Jones? How are you doing tonight? That's what we want to know." Glad to have you here in the comment section tonight. Let us know what you're thinking sports wise tonight here. We'd love to talk about it. One more thing I wanted to mention here before we kind of wrap it up for the night. Bucks did get the win in that semifinal game of the NBA Cup against the Atlanta Hawks there, the 110-102. You know what? The thing that impresses me most with Giannis, and I think it's very underappreciated in today's NBA because, we're all talking about three-pointer, and they're talking about, trying to limit three-pointers somehow and, make them more difficult, everything like that. Giannis Antetokounmpo puts up 32 points, and you look at the stat line, and there's no threes attempted by him in the entire game. Like, that's something that you don't see anymore. I mean, if you're like talking like, oh, who should win the MVP and all this kind of stuff, like that kind of stuff right there is like, this dude is able to do this low block, able to put his back to the basket and still ground and pound and do it. Like, that's impressive, isn't it? I mean, you're a Boston guy, but you're watching a guy like Giannis out here doing stuff like this in ways that we don't even recognize in today's game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, look, I've seen plenty of games where Giannis likes to take a couple of threes just to show that he's worked on it. I still say when he does that, he bails out defenses because
one or two. I always say one or two. One or two.
Yeah, one or two are fine. Yeah.
If he comes down the court, dribbles it down, he's running the point for some reason, and he comes down the floor and he dribbles into it, and they're not defending him, so he just decides to pull it. I'm like, no, none of that. Like, if you catch it on a catch and shoot, like, yeah, okay, I like that. But I hate it when it's that kind of thing there.
Yeah, like if it gets worked around and you find yourself in the corner with it and you pull that three, fine. But yeah, like that's where he would get kind of in his own head. Like he would dribble down, walk into a three. Sometimes he front rim it. I've seen him airball those. But I give Giannis a lot of credit. Like Giannis can brick a three. It doesn't hurt his confidence in any way. He'll try another one. But I do think for him, limit those because, like I said, the way that you're able to get to the rim with your length, athleticism, getting out into the open court on transitions, like there's none or few better than him out in transition. My thing is with him, you play free throw line and in, and you just dominate there. Like you face up. If you want to pull up in the mid range, I like that. If you want to post up guys, because he's clever in post ups. He's got spin moves. Sometimes the elbow gets a little high. He's got to watch that, but like he can cause a lot of damage without forcing himself to take threes. So it is fascinating because this is an era that a lot of people have problems with the 3-point shot, even though I say not every 3-point shot, not every team are created the same. Like if the Celtics take 53s in a game, I guarantee you 40 of them were probably wide open, have zero problem with it. Yeah, some teams out here that'll take like 30, 35 threes, knowing full well they should only take like 15 on a good night. And I think that's where, a lot of people are kind of down on the NBA. And I think with Milwaukee, it's like they kind of know who they are. A lot of their threes come from Dame. You're okay with that. Brook Lopez at this stage in his career, that's kind of what he is. That's what he's kind of best known for. Fine. So Giannis can leave that to them and, just hang around the rim and dominate down there, and the Bucks will be fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, what I want to see out of Giannis is Dame is I want to see Giannis with his back to the basket, and I want to see that pick and roll. Keep it basic. Keep it simple, right? Work your strengths, and that is one of the biggest strengths, right? Is a Giannis Dame pick and roll, like Giannis rolling to the basket or Dame catch and shoot. Like that is where you want those two. So I love that ability that they have with that. Getting Chris Middleton back too. He hasn't been super productive here early on, but you can tell just having him back on the floor is like dad's back, right? It's like having that general back onto he is the guy, he's a leader, and you can see it with him. And I don't, you want to see the scoring eventually come along, and I'm not going to say that I'm going to be okay if he sticks with 6 points for the rest of the season here, but I think that's going to come at some point, right? He's got to get into game action, he's got to feel his shot a little bit there, and he's not shooting a lot as of right now. I mean, you're talking in this game here, he's 2 for 7 from the floor. I mean, he's not shooting a whole boatload of shots at this very moment, but he's trying to find his role, right? You come into a season, I mean, at this point, you're trying to find your role with this team, and that's kind of where we're at this point. So I like it, and I like the ability they got with Andre Jackson Jr. defensively. He scored a little bit in this one too, but defensively, AJ Green coming off the bench, he's able to knock down some threes for you. He's big time. Taurean Prince stepped up in this game. I still don't think he's a starter, but he's starting right now until Chris Middleton's ready to go. And I mean, Gary Trent, he's hit or miss for me, but what do you think? I mean, you've seen this Bucks team all season long. We've been comparing them to other teams in the Eastern Conference. This Bucks team is slowly starting to put themselves into a category. I mean, you look at the Celtics games, and they were right there with the Celtics. It was the self-inflicted wounds, right? I mean, we look at that last game out. I think it was the last game out against the Celtics. The Bucks went, 6 minutes without scoring a basket? Like, you can't go 6 minutes without scoring a basket against the Celtics and expect to win, and you still kept that game close. So it makes you feel confident going into this rest of the stretch for the Bucks that, hey, we can hold with the Celtics. We know we can. What do we have to do in those games to get over that hump? And I think they have that ability. And I mean, I'm not looking at it if the Bucks and Celtics squared off in a 7-game series. I don't think I'm looking at it and saying the Celtics are going to sweep them, no doubt. Like, I am honestly looking at this Bucks team now, and I'm like, defensively, they're getting better. Dame's actually, from what I've heard, seen of Dame over the years and what I've seen for numbers-wise, defensively, he's playing a lot better. I think he's got he's in top 5 of most, like, deflections for a guard on the season, which, I mean, we don't talk about defensive stats with Dame ever. And now we're talking about him with him. So he's playing well. Doc is, I mean, we're starting to see Doc's picture, and the players saw it the whole time. We didn't see it. We're starting to see it all come together. They're buying into what Doc wants to do there. I think this is a team that, hey, they might not be as good as the Celtics, right? They might not have the star power that the Celtics have or some of these other teams, but they could be a team that could go on the road and win some games and find themselves going deep into the playoffs. I think so at this point here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to think so when you have Giannis up there. Plus, you're looking at some of these other teams that aren't the Celtics. It's the Cavs. Do you necessarily believe in the Cavs in the playoffs? Do you believe in a young team like Orlando, an aging team like Miami, kind of newly put together Knicks team? Like, I think there's a lot of uncertainty there that if the Bucks were to slip in with the right matchups, I would not be shocked if it was like a Celtics Bucks Eastern Conference Finals. I do think that the Celtics are just a bad matchup for them. Because what the Celtics have is that they can throw Al Horford on Giannis, and Al Horford makes it difficult on Giannis.
Yep.
Because Al Horford can be physical with Giannis without fouling him. A lot of people thought when Grant Williams left, like that was going to be an issue with the Celtics because Grant Williams was another guy who could hold his own when Giannis was trying to back him under the rim and made it tough. So because they still have Al Horford and they shoot the three as well as they do, the Bucks still prefer that you shoot from out there, and they'll grab rebounds. Problem is the Celtics shoot the three really well. So if the Celtics are hitting from three, the Bucks are just won't have any answers.
Yep.
So I think grand scheme of things, they probably just don't match up well with the Celtics. But other teams in the East, I would have no problem with the Bucks going up against them. You know, the Cavs, like I said, Cavs are playing really well right now. But because of Milwaukee's been there, done that with the playoffs, I would probably favor them over Cleveland. And like I said, a lot of these other teams as well. So if they avoid Boston, I think they're fine. I just don't think that they have the right makeup to really contend with Boston in a playoff series. I wouldn't say a sweep either, but I would not be shocked if it was over in 5, maybe 6. Yeah, I don't think they take it to 7 with Boston. So, I mean, that's a lot of teams in the East, but yeah, I think you can't count Milwaukee out. You just can't.
Yeah. No, 100%. And, you know, you never know, grand scheme of things, what's going to happen as we get into the playoffs, too. I mean, Chris Middleton, defensively, maybe he's feeling it, right? And you got Andre Jackson Jr., you could bottle some guys up. It can all change games, right? So we'll kind of see what happens with this Bucks team. They have, I believe it's Tuesday, will be the NBA Cup Finals there. So it'll be the Thunder and the Bucks in that one there. I believe it's a 7:30 start on ABC. So we can't wait for that one. It's a coveted, right? It's the coveted NBA Cup, and we get to hang a banner. If we win it, we get to hang a banner. We're just as good as LeBron James at that point. I mean, at that point, we're saying Giannis is just as good as LeBron. He's got an NBA Cup Finals win. He's got a finals win. He's 1 for 1 when he gets there. I mean, what else could you want? What else could you want from a guy? We'd be like, Giannis is the GOAT. He's up there in the GOAT conversation now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
so,
look,
Kyle.
If you're Adam Silver, all you want with this NBA Cup is for teams to take it seriously. And if they win it, be proud that they won it. That's the only way it's going to work. So I think both these teams would celebrate the win. For sure.
I agree 100%. It's a moral victory at that point there. Just winning something, right? It can spark a season too. I mean, you get some of these, there's some competitive games that get made up in those, and seeing where you're at compared to a Thunder team who has got some pretty good playmakers over there. So we'll see what the Bucks stack up in that one there. We did have one vote in on the text in line there. We had mint Oreos. We were told mint Oreos was one of the favorite Oreos there. So, I mean, didn't think about mint. That's a good one. That's a good one there. So, Kyle, anything else you got to wrap us up here for the night? Anything you can think of top of your head?
No, not really. I think we basically hit on everything.
I think so.
Yeah. I feel like until we start really seeing this ball get rolling with the MLB free agency, which I say is every year, if you're baseball, you kind of want it to start going here.
Yes.
Last thing you want is another offseason like last year where, Soto was a Boris guy. At least he didn't, drag it out like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery last year. But there's a lot of big names that could be moved. If I'm baseball, I kind of want to nudge some of these teams, like, let's get some of this done to keep hold of, like, interest. Because they do nothing between now and, like, spring training. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, yeah, baseball's kind of back around. Like, cool. But if you get free agents from here till then, it's still in the front of your mind.
you're kind of getting overshadowed by the transfer portal. I mean, even like we're talking about the transfer portal more than we're talking about NBA or not NBA, but MLB free agency. Like it doesn't spark your interest as much, I guess. And it was like once Juan Soto figured it out after that, I figured all the dominoes would start to fall, and I think they slowly will. But question is if it's all at once or if it's going to be over time or if it's going to be spring training's 3 days away and Corbin Burns is now going to sign with X and O or whoever it is. Like we're going to wait and see what happens there. So, I mean,
and you're only days away from the college football playoff getting underway. And once that happens, baseball, you can forget stealing any headlines at that point.
Yeah, because that's an event, right? We got Friday is the first game of the college football playoff. We got Bowl Mania has already started. I did see some bowl games are already happening. So we had those. Did you watch the Army Navy game? We got about 10 seconds. What'd you think? What'd you think of the game? 10 seconds.
Look, hey, shout out to I gotta remember, Army was the one that was ranked, so shout out to Navy getting the win. Look, I feel like for the Service Academy, it was a great showing. A lot of times Army Navy games are like 9-6 and weather's involved. Like it was perfect weather for the game. I thought both teams, you saw this kind of extension of rivalry week. Like you saw it in the crowd, Army guys, Navy guys going at it. Like it's a game I watch every year because of that aspect of it. You know, we talked about Navy a lot on here. I mean, Army being ranked, kind of rooting for them. It was kind of weird that, you know, their opponent for the bowl game pulled out. They needed a replacement. They went with Louisiana Tech, even though I heard Wisconsin was sort of in the running for it.
I'm glad that we said no. That we said no. I was like, I don't want another one. Just let this baby be over. Yeah. Like that's so tough. You're asking a team that's been off for excuse me there. How long already to just go back to practice? Like that is so tough. And you're asking them to practice for a couple more weeks. Like, I don't know. I did like the uniforms though. I thought the uniforms were pretty sweet for this one.
Yeah. I'm glad Army's getting an opponent. I was afraid that because Marshall pulled out, they're going to be like, oh, we can't find anybody and your season's done. Like, don't do that to the Army players. At least they're going to play a game. Good for them.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. So Bowl Mania is underway. The college football playoff will be underway coming up on Friday. So we'll get more into the college football playoff on Wednesday, getting into Friday there. Aaron will be back. So we got to talk about Penn State a little bit. We got to talk about everything in between. We're going to have more to get into.
We're going to appreciation tournament. That's what's
right. I can't wait. Can't wait for it. James Franklin is going to wipe the board with everybody, and Aaron will be a fan. Aaron will be a big fan of him there.
If they make the finals, Aaron's going to have to root for James Franklin.
He can't not. He can't not. He has to be. He has to be a James Franklin fan at that point there. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. It's going to be a good one. I can't wait for the college football playoffs to see what happens. And I think they're already going to tweak it going into next year. So everything is not perfect until they keep changing it, and it still won't be perfect. So we'll wait and see what kind of happens with that there. But we got lots to get into on Wednesday here on the show. We're going to recap the Packers Seahawks right now, 20-3 at the half. In that one, Packers, they're doing, I mean, like John said earlier, I mean, the run game is where it's going to be at. That's where they're trying to control this game. So Packers 23 at the half. We're going to recap that game on Wednesday here on the show. We're going to be talking about the Bucs NBA Cup, see if they pull that baby off there. We're going to get into probably more transfer portal talk, Badger basketball, get into it all here Wednesday on the show. So with that, for Kyle and myself, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. But until we talk to you guys again on Wednesday,